I have a bad boss. Should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should
Mhm.
I go? What did you find was the most challenging thing having a clinic and being a dentist?
The most challenging, I think it was like allowing myself to turn off later. Um, what's my honest answer? Maybe
Yeah.
not do everything the exact way everyone else does if that's not working for us.
After 2 burnouts in dentistry, I asked myself, what if I could turn my struggles into stepping stones for others? That's how this podcast started. We learn from each other, going from stress to success. And with more than 60% of dental professionals facing stress or burnout, this conversation has never been more important. Let's get started.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Was it a year ago almost, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know. If has it been that long? I guess it has, but doesn't time
I
go so
think
fast?
so. Yeah, gosh. This summer I have been in Spain for 20 years when I finished my
Oh,
studies. So 20
yeah.
years has been like, wow.
I can't believe like the
So,
last few years how fast time's gone
yeah,
for me. It's
yeah,
just crazy. I don't know about you.
yeah. Yeah, that's why it's so important to be present and have these reminders that we are having.
Exactly.
So, for
Oh,
the people who don't know who you are, they are thinking, who is this beautiful lady?
thank you.
Please tell us who you are.
Yeah. I'm Dr. Camden Brown. I'm an orthodontist and a coach. And I help doctors who are undergoing transitions and challenges. So that can be external transitions like taking on a new role or selling your practice and trying to figure out what's next, or internal shifts such as wanting to go from feeling like overwhelmed, anxious, stressed, bored, whatever it may be, to feeling like you're really thriving and you're aligned and connected and grounded.
Mm. Okay, so then we are curious, what made you go from, but let's go back in time. Like, what made you study dentistry in the first place?
Um, what's my honest answer? I know
here,
my
here,
honest answer. And
here
that's
we have to be. It's like being in the church. Here we have to be on.
uh-oh. So my honest answer is I was scared to apply to med school and I switched to dental. And I
What
don't
were you
regret.
afraid of? What
I
were you
think,
scared of?
well, I think I was afraid of failure, but I think I was also afraid of the lifestyle in medicine, the hours and like certain components of that. So I was studying like for the MCAT and everything, and I had gotten pretty far, and I ended up shadowing an orthodontist at that point. And I just thought, this, it's kind of the cliche, right? Where I was like, this seems like a great blend of art and science. and and I love art and I love science, and I genuinely do. And I hadn't, I guess some people have braces when they're younger and that's how they connect. I didn't have braces. So I really didn't ever have that like opportunity to see the office. And so I shifted at that point. Um, but I don't regret it because it was like beautiful. I got to go to like a dental school that I totally loved and experience all these beautiful things. So yeah, you know how it is. You're in
Well,
college and you're shifting.
do you think it would have changed your mind if you would have seen like the dental clinic?
Think so. I mean, I did go to a clinic, but
Mm,
I think sometimes it's so hard when you're at different early stages because like you have to really be in it for a while to know how you're
yeah,
doing. I mean,
yeah,
was that your experience?
yeah. Yeah, I agree. Somehow want to think that maybe we can see maybe which
Mhm.
personalities fit better than others. But it's just like you said, I think you have to be in it for a while
Yeah.
to see,
No.
because just like you say, I loved it too, until I didn't. So it's
Yeah.
like,
And I
and I
think
don't know, was it never supposed to be? Shouldn't I have gone that path, or did I change? It's
mhm.
like the egg and the hen. Like, I don't know.
Totally. And
Yeah,
I think that there's like so much for me, there's so much gray area because like sometimes
yeah,
I loved it and sometimes I didn't. And then I still think, oh, I think it's fun to explore the ways that we can love it and we can at least make the office more aligned towards us, maybe not
yeah,
do everything the exact way everyone else does if that's not working for us.
yeah. So when did you study dentistry?
2004 to 2008, I was in dental school. And
Mhm.
then 2008 to 2011, I was in residency.
Then how many years did you work until you felt like,
So I feel like, um, mm, I feel like I loved dental school. I was at Harvard for dental, and it was pass fail, and it was fully immersed with the med school. So we took all the classes that they took, and then we took our dental
Wow,
classes in the afternoon, and we
that has
tested
to be
with them.
tough.
It was, but then I was like, oh, this is, we can do this. We can do
Yeah,
hard things.
yeah.
Um, and it was a very collaborative environment, so I loved it. I think
Mm,
in residency, I mean, I still was very engaged, but maybe less, I don't know, maybe a little less interested, if I'm honest.
mm,
and then and then as I got out, it was like I liked owning. I did enjoy owning a practice and the challenges that came with that, especially in the initial growth stages.
So you did own your own practice? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And how
So
many years had you been a dentist when you owned your own
um,
practice?
I worked for 1 year and then I bought someone's satellite office.
Wow, yeah.
Um, and it was the
That's
same year
very
that I
young.
had a baby and,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
and just kind of dove into it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You have such a similar story to me. I wanted to become a doctor as well, but because of the hours, and I wanted to have children early, then I was like, I don't want to work weekends. I don't want to study so many years. So that's why I chose dental school. And then I also became an owner. And it's like you think that just because just like you said, you're going through something difficult like dental school. So you think you can manage anything. Okay, I open my own practice, but we should all go to a special education for opening a practice. Yeah,
Yes.
I know that now. Maybe that would be a difference. What do you think that could have helped? What do you feel that you missed in dental school that could have helped your career as a dentist or dental practice owner?
Mm. I think that, um, and it's something I actually want to bring back to the dental school setting. I've thought about it and I'm like,
Mm,
oh, I want to lecture on this. I
yeah.
think that emotional side of stress management
Mm,
and finding your own way, that it's okay to not always, you might have in your mind that this is what your job has to look like, or this is what you need to be as a professional. And a little bit more of that, like, let's get creative, or what are the unique qualities of you? I think that would have been helpful. I
mm,
think, I think business education, but also from the perspective of like, and I'm still learning about it, but almost like conscious leadership and like ways that you might be able to make an impact through your business, or almost beyond the concepts of, you know, annual growth and profit, which is obviously very important, but like what are bigger ways that might feel very aligned to you that you can, you know, use your business for the world. I think that would have been cool.
Yeah. What is easy for you to delegate, for example, as a leader?
Yes and no. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I'm not controlling. Am I controlling? I don't think I am. I think I had a pretty good time delegating, but there's always that sense sometimes of like, if you know, you think, well, like, I know how to do this, so I'll just do it really quick or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That is pretty
Yeah.
common. Yeah.
Mostly I was
What
just
did you?
figuring it out though. You know, I was
Yeah.
trying to like learn as I went,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
remember feeling like I bought this and then thinking like, oh my gosh, it's like a moving train and I'm like halfway on and I don't even know where we're going or what's happening.
Yeah. And at the same time, you had a baby at home.
Yeah, had a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was hard.
So, yeah. What did you find was the most challenging thing having a clinic and being a dentist?
The most challenging, I think it was like allowing myself to turn off later, to like
Mm,
not always be so attached to it or
yeah.
thinking about it.
Mm,
Like to be able to go home and like not worry
yeah.
about it, or not worry if things weren't perfect, or, you know, I didn't even
Mm,
get bad reviews, but I always thought, oh my God, I'm going to get a bad review. Or like there'd be
yeah.
these, you know,
Yeah.
perfectionistic kind of
Mm.
things. I don't know if you experienced any of that.
Yeah, totally, totally. Do you think
Yeah.
that comes with dentistry, or do you think it's a personality thing?
I think it's a personality thing. I was just kind of always like, you know, from school age, wanted straight A's and a little
Yeah.
bit of that people pleasing in there.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think the part, like we were talking about the turning off your brain, I think that was one of the turning points for me selling my practice, because I realized I was like missing so much time with my kids. And I felt like I wasn't that present when I got home or that engaged.
Yeah, I totally understand you there. So how many years did you have your dental practice?
So I had it for 8 years.
8 years, yeah. And how long time did you need to get to that point that where you said, now I'm going to sell it? Do you remember that
Mm.
from thinking of it?
Yeah. I
Because
thought of it every year.
did you? Because I thought I would like die with the practice. I didn't see like uh, uh, an option to sell it until it went too far. Like, oh, maybe I could sell it.
Hmm.
So you thought about it every year, like,
I mean, maybe
no,
not in the most thoughtful of ways.
but the thought just came.
Like, so, well, I don't know
Yeah,
about this.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I really don't want to paint a picture like I hated it all the time, because that's not true
Mm,
either. You know,
no, 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 no.
I thought about selling it because I would think I want to be with my kids or
Mm,
different pieces like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um, or just sometimes it was like I wanted, maybe like I worked in a practice by myself and I wanted to work with other doctors. So there were elements like that I craved,
Mm,
or I craved like not wearing every single hat. That was like, that would have been nice, like
yeah, yeah,
to split it with somebody a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. I,
Um,
I totally get it. And it's like I was saying, during one day at the practice, I could go through all the different emotions from feeling like I have the best job in the whole world and 1 hour later, like being totally drained because maybe the scanner didn't work, or
Yeah,
and then again you had a patient that you realized that you had changed and made this big impact in their life, and you were like, I said to the receptionist, "Oh, we have the best work ever." And then again, boom, you're drained because maybe you had an extraction and the other
it's
patient had to wait. So you're going through these different cortisol and
totally.
dopamine levels.
And because we're dealing with human beings, so it's not like 100% predictable. I think we
No,
would have had fun together, though. You and I should have had a
yeah.
practice together.
But the thing, yeah, but the thing is that I think that when you said that it was fun in dental school, I think that that is the little bit anticlimax, that we have fun in dental school because we are together, we are in a community, and suddenly we go to the clinics and we sit by ourselves. And if
Totally.
we're lucky, we can have lunch with a colleague. But there are
Hmm.
colleagues that maybe don't want to even have lunch because they want to finish earlier. So there's
I
so many
agree.
components that you feel lonely. You feel lonely and lonely with your problems when you have a dental practice, don't you?
Totally. And I think I'm sure that depends on personality. Like I'm
Yeah.
very social and I really like I want to be in a coffee shop. I want to be with people. And
Mm,
so I
yeah.
do think
And
that
we
I'm
have
sure.
patients. We have patients who come and go, but it's not the same thing, and they cannot speak. One sign that I saw, like when I had the last 2 years, was that I was speaking a lot with them, with the patients. So I was speaking. Then I said, "Oh, now we only have 10 minutes. Okay, let me finish. Let me do the filling."
Mhm.
But I enjoyed the speaking part, and then it was like, "Okay, let's do the filling." So it was like something inside me wanted to come out, like, Christina, you need more connections.
Mhm. I agree. Like my favorite part of dentistry is the connection and the
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how does your life look like now then?
Mm. Um, it's great. But I feel like it's still evolving, so we'll see where it
Yeah,
goes in the next few
always.
years.
Yeah, but that's the funny
Yeah.
part in life. Yeah, we can't
Um,
know everything.
we can't. So after I sold, I moved to a different state.
And
Um,
when was that?
2021. So I got through COVID and then sold my office.
You had time to think during COVID, like what you
Yes.
actually wanted. Yeah.
We had that month where we had to close and I was like gardening and yeah.
Yeah.
Um so we moved to a different state. I live next door to my dad and my stepmom. We live in a very beautiful warm climate that has
Mm,
lots of nature and birds and water. So that is something that is really important to me. And I think that that
yeah.
also can have such an effect on us, like the climate and the place.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, now I'm doing coaching. I help a lot with the kids. I take them to school and pick them up. And
That is
yeah,
such a luxury.
it's
Yesterday
such a
they
luxury.
celebrated. Yeah. They have like this province that we live in, Andalusia. They had this like next week it's Dia de Andalusia, the Andalusian Day, but they
Mm,
celebrated it yesterday at the school, and I could go there and watch my daughter dance, and she said, "Mom, you were one of the few that was there." And I just
mm.
felt like, oh my God, I could not do that earlier when I had the clinic, or could, but you know how it is. You can,
Yeah,
but
we could, but we didn't. And
yeah.
we should have, maybe.
Yeah. And I don't know if this happened to you, or if I, if like, I think I also had bad luck in many situations. Like when I had a vacation, or if I have a visit, and I was like, now I will be free. It was
Mm,
always something that happened. Or maybe the patient that I had just put provisional veneers, things that just I could do and I could solve, or a question that just I could solve. That feeling of never being really free.
Mm-hmm.
And that was okay, like the first 15 years, but it came to a point like enough is enough. I want to be free, free, feel peace. Yeah. So that,
Totally.
did
I
you
think,
experience that as well? That when you had vacation, it was like always something, or like something that you were thinking
or I
about?
just, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think, or I would just feel like I had to still, you had to still check your phone. You had to still like be available.
Yeah.
Although I think that there's a lot of space for doctors to be way more supportive of each other.
Yeah.
So eventually I had a couple of doctors in my town. And if I was leaving, I would
Mm,
just text them and funnel
yeah.
things to their office, and the same. And that's what we need, is like some more,
Yeah.
support with each other
Yeah.
so that we can all take a break.
Absolutely. And we can, but don't we all also have the fear that what if that patient leaves me? You know?
Yeah.
I think dentists have that. If we are going to be honest, we are sitting here and trying to be as honest as possible. And I really
Yeah.
I really think that is a fear that we often have.
I definitely do. Yeah. And I think that's something then, like what I know now would be, well, that would be something to like feel in your body and explore a little bit. It's
Mm,
also, it reminds me of like something I heard recently about clutter in your house. And it was like asking yourself, well, would I rather hold on to that thing that I might need someday? Or would I rather have that space and that clean area for me and my family? And it's almost like the same question. It's like, would I rather lose the patient, or
yeah.
like give the time to myself, or hold
Yeah.
on to that patient and never take a break?
Yeah. But that I think is a personality thing. And what I realized a lot of things when I sold my clinic, and before I became a coach, I got coaching myself, and I also
Mhm.
went to therapy, because I realized that, well, if I have gone through 2 burnouts, something is not really
Yeah.
right.
What am I doing?
It's like, yeah, I'm doing something wrong, So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, please tell me, what am I doing wrong? I think I'm a good person. I just want everybody to be happy. And they go like, yeah, that's maybe the problem, Christina, that you're a people pleaser. And that is like a trauma response you have to work with. You have to work
Hmm.
with the fear of rejection. And it's true.
Yes.
Just thinking that a patient wouldn't like me, I could not
It's
stand that
horrible.
feeling. It's horrible. I could not stand it. It's like I do everything just that you're happy, so you can be
Mhm.
happy. Like, and that came to the staff, and that came. But it's a game you can never win, because you
Mhm.
always end up losing if you're like that. You always end up losing and feeling bitter, like pieces have been taken from you. It starts like, oh, I want everybody to be happy, but then you feel like, oh, I have
Yeah.
given too much. But it's not the other people's fault. It's because you
It's you
have,
and your
yeah, it's
boundaries that
you.
you haven't
Yeah,
created.
exactly. So now I
Yeah.
have boundaries, and that affected my whole life. So with my children, with my husband, I teach him I taught him the word boundaries. Then he started with me. Yeah, now I'm setting boundaries with you, Christine. I'm like, I shouldn't have told you. So, but it becomes healthier. It's like now we set boundaries. We're not, and it all that was unconscious. I didn't know about it. I didn't know where to set the boundary.
Totally. Yeah. And
Does
I
that
think
resonate with you?
definitely. I mean, when I began my practice, it's like I'd never even heard, like, same. I hadn't heard the term. I didn't know it. And so things that exhausted me, I was giving my energy to that. I was allowing that to always be a thing instead of
Mm.
being firm and saying, well, you might be mad, but this is
Mm.
the,
Yeah.
boundary here. I mean, I was overall, I mean, I wasn't completely giving away everything. I had some
No.
boundaries with my time and schedule and
Mm.
everything. But yeah, I've heard it described now as like when you create healthy boundaries, you're almost doing it ahead of time. Like you're digging into what you want, you're creating that space and that, and then you don't feel that reactive like resentment
Mm.
at the time. You can just be a bit more firm in it and say, like, this is it. But I do
Yeah.
think that's where we need the support of either a therapist, a coach, or
Yeah.
peer to be like,
Yeah.
it's okay if someone doesn't like us.
Mm. Yeah. And one of the reasons why I also studied coaching and became a coach was when I felt the power of coaching. I just hope that everybody could just experience the power of coaching. And I
Yes,
understand that I didn't know what it was. And I understand that many people don't know. I made a reel about what coaching is. Like, coaching is like quinoa. You have heard the word, but you're like, okay, it's something that's good for you, but you don't really know what it is. And when you try to
yeah,
explain, like, yeah, I'm not telling you what you should do, I'm asking you questions, open question. They're like, but what I can ask myself questions, but no, you can't. You can never take yourself where a coach can take you, and a coach needs another coach. It's like, if even if I'm working as a coach, I would need you, for example. Okay, let's speak about my challenge as a coach, and you coach me and you will push me further than I can push myself. And I really
totally.
wish that people would know it, but it's difficult to. How do you try to get through to people so they understand what you can help them with?
I'm still trying to figure that out
Mm.
because I think you have to feel it to a lot
Mm.
of the times. I mean, I just try to like honestly share my story, be
Mm.
open, and then in my posts, like just let them be authentic to what I'm
Yeah.
thinking, what's going on in my life, like all that. And my goal, I just assume, well, with that, at least someone gets to know who you are, and
Yeah.
then maybe they take that leap. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think you have to feel it, because the other thing to me that's so powerful with coaching that I didn't understand until fairly recently is that the importance of the other person's like nervous system with yours, and like the way that if your coach is in that grounded state and asking you those powerful questions that are going to upgrade your awareness, like that combo is so magical, because it can help you even virtually to be able to like settle and find, deeper truths in there than you can
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah. Definitely. I started to coach. I'm not only coaching dentists, and it's so refreshing to also coach people outside dentistry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm coaching a doctor, and it's so incredible to see, like, she was going through a burnout and thought that she had to leave her workplace or maybe leave the profession. And just after a few sessions, she realized that she actually loved it, but just by cutting off one day a week, she found the love again and setting boundaries. And 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 many times it was just like she was telling how she felt and she found the way, and so you don't she was explaining, yeah, maybe I feel like this, and yeah, probably that is because of that. So, and after an hour she said, wow, I came to all these conclusions just by saying it out loud, because it's one thing, have it in your mind, and another thing to write it down or say it out loud. When you say it out loud, that is when it's just like when you're doing a test when we were young or when we were in dental school. If you think, I know it, But it's not until you write it down you realize if you actually know it or
Do
not.
I actually?
So, yeah. Or maybe I have to study more. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so powerful. Sometimes you mention ADHD. Do you say that in
Mm-hmm.
English as well? Yeah.
Yes.
So how come you enter those subjects?
I enter them because that was like a personal exploration for me in understanding the nervous system and the different. I mean, I think it can be such a spectrum. You don't really have, you don't have to be diagnosed with ADHD, but understanding like what are the ways that help you do your work, focus, be more productive, or bring yourself down after you've been productive. How do you like level out or get back to that state so that you're not always in the wired state? I just
Because
realized
that's one of the symptoms, isn't it? Or that's one of
yeah,
the signs, or
ADHD can be, yeah, and I am not an expert on it, so I'll just say that, but
yeah.
it can be, it's an interest-based nervous system, so it's not an inability to focus. It's that you have to be interested in what you're studying to focus on it. And then there are also, other components on the spectrum. You might be hyperactive, right? You might be physically moving, but you can also not be hyperactive, but have an internal hyperactivity.
Yeah.
And it can affect a lot of different things. It can affect our ability to sleep and our sleep cycles. It can affect whether ADHD or not. I think something I'm very interested in is like stimulation in the workplace. So like all the sensory sounds that are going on and the sound of the suction and the sound of the drill and the patient chattering and the effect all that has on our nervous
Yeah.
system.
Yeah. It sounds
Yeah.
sometimes when I've read about it like it's similar to being a high sensitive person, like you absorb everything. One thing that was challenging for me, and actually the more experience I had in the profession, the more challenging it became. And I don't know if this feeling happened to you after having a difficult treatment or any treatment, to go from working to writing about what I have been doing, to again work. That
Yeah.
I was like, no, I cannot write about it now. So many times, because I had pretty good memory, but with age it could get worse. But so I was like, no, by the end of the day, I'm sitting down and write. Like I
Yeah.
didn't feel like I had the mindset to start to write after the work, and that came.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if,
Yeah.
but became more and more difficult the older I got.
Yeah.
Have you
It,
felt that too?
I don't know if in orthodontics, a lot of the times our assistants wrote most of our notes and we would go back and edit them. So I didn't
That's
have to
true.
do that quite as much.
Yeah.
But if I had a lengthy note, yes, but I'd kind of have to write myself some notes. So I made sure I remembered all the key points. I
Yeah.
had trouble though. Yeah. If I had to like work up cases, but then I was doing clinical and I was trying to shift, that would be hard for me. Um, what I've discovered now for me is I really love listening to music to help me focus. So when I hear you say that, it's like I wonder if you had like some headphones and a certain type of music, if that could have helped you to like write your notes and focus and like shift
I
into
had
that for a
music all the
moment.
time. I had
But
music all the time.
not
Not
music
like that.
here.
Ah.
Like here, like you are in it. To me, it's totally
Okay.
a different experience if I have music playing versus I'm
It could
like
be
in
different. Yeah.
it.
I never
Yeah.
tried that. I always had music. I cannot work with silence. I
Mhm.
couldn't. When it was silent, I was like, I was just looking at the assistant. It's like,
Yes, I know.
I
It's
don't know. It's
creepy.
just like, yeah, it's like, with some. So
Yeah.
we asked the patients what they wanted to listen to. So we put it on a television so they could listen. But one time it was a man who wanted like punk rock. Ah! So during a whole extraction, I felt like, oh my God, I shouldn't have asked what music you want.
Hmm.
But yeah, but that was fun. So do you
Yeah.
work clinically at all now?
I don't right now, but I don't,
Mm,
I do anticipate working clinically again. Yeah.
mm,
So I'm just
yeah,
exploring in our area for the right opportunity that feels like the right
yeah,
fit. Yeah.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
I see myself probably doing part-time clinical. So kind of like
Mm,
you talked about with that lady, the doctor,
mm,
I think it's very individualized
yeah,
and that can make all the difference, you know?
yeah, yeah. We just have to try, and life changes, and just try. Like, okay, I try to work, let's say 3 days, or maybe, oh, that felt too much. Okay, I can
Mm-hmm.
work 2 days. You
And
can
testing.
create the life you want. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like
Because
the Fridays, I have podcast recordings. And at first, I just had the whole day. But then I felt like, oh no, I cannot do 3, 4 podcasts in a row. I don't
hmm.
have energy for
Yeah.
that. So then I started to do the buffer time. Then I thought, no, maximum 2. So we have to try and see what feels okay. And when we are
And allow
younger, we
that.
have more energy. And I'm speaking like I'm, but you can, I'm, I'm getting closer to 15. I feel the difference. It's not the same thing as when you were 30. Life changes,
Yeah.
your patience change, your energy changes. So yeah.
Yeah. And your priorities with your family.
Yeah.
But I will say, I mean, I love the way I see clinical for me is um, I do love patients and being with
Mm,
them, but it can't be everything. It can't be my like whole mindset, my whole life, my whole identity.
yeah, exactly. And I think in my case, I was 18 years in the same clinic, in the same room.
Hmm.
18 years. It's a long time. Not many dentists have been like, from the first day that I became a dentist, I started at that clinic. And I grew this patient, what do you say? Like,
Patient
that's,
based population.
yeah, yeah, that felt like an extension of my family and the staff and
Yeah.
everything. And because I couldn't set these boundaries, I couldn't leave work at work. It felt like these 18 years was 100% dentistry. When I came home, I was still continuing editing photos or speaking about it or worrying. If I if I would have set boundaries and had a more normal way, I would probably still wanting
Hmm.
to be at the clinic. But because it went so far, and that's why I'm speaking about these and also on conferences, I don't want anyone to go so far that I went. Because when it goes so far, you just feel, when you're in a relationship, when it's like, it doesn't matter what you do, I'm out of here. That feeling.
Yeah.
And you get so many trigger points, like just somebody calling you after a certain time, and you just like feel "Ugh." So
I know.
it's a pity when it goes so far, and that's why it's so important to speak about these things. We have to teach dental students to disconnect and to take care of themselves. As long as they take care of themselves and have self-awareness, they could work their whole life, maybe not full time, but at least you will have the love to continue with something. But then there are so many different things you can do in dentistry. We don't have to work just clinically. We
Hmm.
can how do you say, oh, I lost the word, but when uh,
Lecture?
yeah, you
Teach?
can lecture, or you can, when you do studies, more
Yeah, like clinical
scientific.
studies.
Yeah, yeah. So there are so many different ways
Yeah.
and roads, and maybe we should be informed about these different things as well, so we don't just think that it's just one way, and if we don't want that, it's like now what should I do?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I? Oh, that's an
Totally.
important thing we can enter a little bit, that our profession is so connected to, or our personality is so connected to our profession. So how did you feel when you started to feel that you didn't want the clinic, or you didn't want to work clinically? How did that
Mm.
affect you as a person?
Yeah. Guilt and shame. um, yeah, like a sense of maybe I'm broken, or like a lot of fighting it. Like, well, why? Why do they want to do it and I don't right now? Like, what does that mean about me? Um, or I'm going to disappoint my parents, or I'm going to
Mm,
disappoint my husband, or I'm going to disappoint my kids, or like, all that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So how did your husband react?
Um, he was supportive. I mean, like I said, I would jokingly say it like often. And then this particular time, I think he was kind of itching to move as well. So he felt like he was in a time when he wanted to be on a little adventure. He wanted to start
Mm,
his own architecture firm. So he was supportive of it at that
mm.
point. Yeah.
That's nice, and that's so important. That helps a lot.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely. Yes. I mean, if
yeah,
you had someone that was saying no, it would be incredibly hard because it's hard enough on yourself. So if you
yeah,
had anybody saying don't, then
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think at first people don't really understand, and you don't understand yourself. So you start to complain, like, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't know if I can handle it. And the people around you are like, yeah, but it's a good job, it is security, da 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 da. They think that that's the best. But in my case, when they saw that it really affected my the second burnout I got 2022 was really, I entered a depression. I couldn't really admit. That's typical, like when you're a strong person, that you cannot admit. I was like, no, I'm not depressed. Oh, you're not? You're
Mm.
crying every day. You cannot smile. But I couldn't admit
Yeah.
it to myself. It's like, no, I'm not. But so I think at that point he was like, but sell it then. Sell it. If you're not happy, if you don't even know why you're living, like, sell it. It's not
Yeah. And
everything.
I
And hmm.
go ahead, finish. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, I many times we have high suicide rates in our profession. So I think, it's like it's like I can grab that feeling that they have had. And
Yeah.
if you don't have somebody supportive, or because you cannot think really straight, I was lucky that I one morning got this feeling like something is wrong. I have to step back. So I
Yeah.
just said to everyone, my mother, she's sick. I went to my mother's small village, and I stayed there for 3 weeks. And just like you said, going out to nature. So even if I was really tired, I forced myself to walk by the sea. And I started to do research, like, is this happening only to me? Am I weak? Am I crazy? And then I saw all these studies, like, this is happening. This is happening a lot in dentistry. And I was like, why don't we speak about this? And why don't we prevent it?
Yeah.
Why we are not solving anything by just not speaking about it?
Totally.
Yeah,
My worst experience was in dental school, actually.
yeah,
Was
that
uh,
happens a lot.
Yeah, when we were studying for our national board exam, and I got so anxious, and I, had this horrible panic attack, and then I had like a couple weeks of insomnia, and it was like my nervous system was just totally crazy. And And at that point, I remember thinking, like, oh, I understand how people want to commit suicide when they're feeling this way. Like, I don't want to, but I'm having a taste of what happens. I was just talking to somebody the other day about the number of people that have committed suicide from their medical class as well. And it was very high. So I feel like, yeah, we just have to create these spaces where people can feel safe to come out and be like, I'm having anxiety, I'm having depression,
But it's so difficult because it's so rooted in you. And I'm still a little bit like that. If I have a bad day, I don't call anyone. I don't want people to
Mhm.
see that I'm
I
not,
know.
yeah.
I feel it
So,
when we're on these. I think like, oh, someone's going to hear that one comment from dental school and decide that I'm, you know, whatever, broken, or I don't know what. So
mm,
there's a shame to it,
mm.
or a
Not
fear.
anymore. Not anymore. I
Yeah.
don't feel any shame or fear. I don't know if that age thing.
I think I think for me, because I'm still like exploring
You're
clinical and
still
other
young.
things, I'm
Yeah.
like, but what was I going to say with this? Oh, I think too, I don't know if your experience was this, but I found that there was a point when the dental forums on Facebook and stuff were really not helpful for me because the narrative there is like everyone's doing well, or this is this case that's so
Mm,
wonderful, or and I'm not saying that those are bad, but I think we have to like have boundaries with how much we spend on them, how much
yeah.
time, or how we're going to engage.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that's the general like vision of dentistry, and I was in that game too, like before and
Mm-hmm.
after photos. Here we are, and
Yeah.
if when I scroll back, and I've not removed anything, and one day I will look, but sometimes I see one day, but sometimes I see like stories. It's 9 o'clock. We have been working 12 hours, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to do a
Thanks.
post about it. And it's funny because I did a reel that I actually put on LinkedIn as well. When I was joking, I had my husband in the dental chair, and he had like these papers with text, and we were joking that now my husband is my patient because there is the only way he can be with me. So now we're dating in my
No.
clinic,
And
and it
you're
was
like,
like,
look back.
and I added and I said this was 2 months before my burnout. And it was because I looked at the date. It's like, and you see it every day. Like, we are working so hard. We have been here 12. The harder we work, the better in dentistry. And I
Yeah.
had a conference, and I was a speaker at a storage conference. And when you go out of dentistry, you see like business people like, how could we earn more by working less, and in dentistry is like, yeah, hard work, more courses, um
Yes.
and
Or
more
it's like,
money for yeah, who can spend more, who can spend more hours money.
yes. Or I love the like, it's like some massive blizzard and everyone is saying how they made it to the dental office.
Yeah, yeah,
Thinking, your kids are home that day. Like, just enjoy
yeah,
it. Just
yeah,
let it
yeah,
be. Instead of this, like, I'm going to, like, hike through the blizzard and make it to the dental office today.
yeah, yeah,
But it's the
totally.
narrative. It's the narrative.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
it's
think
like,
it's changing a little.
it is changing, and I think the younger generation are much more open-minded, self-aware, probably because of social media. So they see people just traveling around the world and gaining money, and so they see things that we didn't know of or we didn't even think of. And
Yeah.
for me, I felt like, I don't know what I felt, but maybe like I was worth more if I worked more, if I struggled more. It was like
Yeah.
a good thing until it
Yes.
wasn't.
Yeah, and like that concept of like not resting or rest isn't productive or
Mm.
yeah.
Rest gave you guilt. But then it's also about listening to people, smart people. And when you listen to podcasts of really smart people, you hear like they block their time, they rest, they have
Mm-hmm.
these hours every day where they don't do anything because there's where inspiration and creativity grows and sparks. So you realize how wrong you were. Like by stressing, our hippocampus gets smaller. We get, in other words, a little bit narrow minded, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Definitely.
think about that?
Yeah, I felt like once I created like more space in my life and more pauses, a little more rest, my creativity increased again. I could see whether it was just something at home or work ideas, like I could see a lot more opportunity and different solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think when we're stressed, we're just not in a state where we can access that
No, no.
imagination.
Yeah, totally. So, what would your dream scenario be now? What?
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm,
What would it be? Well, I'm still figuring it out. I'm open to different
mm,
possibilities for
mm,
myself.
yeah.
I want to be able to pick up my kids from school at least 2 days a week.
Mm,
So that's part of it.
yeah.
Um,
Which
yeah.
days?
Thursday's the farmer's market.
Mm,
So I want Thursday.
yeah.
And then any other day, really.
Yeah.
maybe Friday, but it's okay either
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
And how many days do you think you would like to work clinically?
Clinically, I would work probably my most ideal is like 1 to 2 days clinically,
Mm, mm,
up to 3, depending on the schedule. So to
yeah.
me, it starts to get hard when it's like, you're starting at 7:30 a.m. and you're going till 5:30 and
Yeah.
both ends feel like they're challenging or you have a commute at the end of the day or the beginning. Like
Mm,
that's when, like once that day goes way far beyond 9 to 5, that's when I think it feels really hard, especially with
yeah.
kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like if it's more consolidated, it's a lot easier to do those 3 or 4 days. If
Mm,
you're not feeling like you're just a total chaos,
mm,
on those days.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I love coaching. So I'd like to be doing that several days a week. I like being creative and collaborative and talking to people, talking to businesses. It's important for me to feel like I can be a part of the like nature and the rest of the world, and I'm not just like only getting a slice of that on Saturday or Sunday.
Mm,
So whether that means like a morning walk, a midday walk, an evening walk, like feeling that that's accessible.
mm,
Um, I don't do well if I'm in a clinic full time and I have no access to the outside world. And then I'm like,
mm,
done and it's dark.
mm.
Um, that doesn't really work well for my nervous
No.
system or
No.
body.
Yeah. So, what would
Yes.
the best hours be for you if you could choose?
If I could choose.
Yeah, and you can,
Oh, I don't know the answer to that because I like different things. I mean, I saw one time, it might have been a year or two ago, you posted about a 6-hour workday clinical.
Mm, yeah,
And I remember thinking, that's great. Like, go for a chunk
yeah.
of time, 12
Mm,
p.m. or, yeah, to 6 p.m., something in that range I'd be happy with.
mm,
Um, I also really I've realized a patterned schedule. So I don't necessarily want it to be totally loose where I don't know what's happening any day, but I like to have a day of clinic, a day, maybe a different schedule of clinic, a day of admin or
mm,
coaching. I like to have some variability in my schedule
mm,
and in the location that I'm working,
mm.
ideally. But yeah, I'm very open right now. I'm like in this open space of like, I'm going to see where it unfolds, looking at clinical, looking at remote coaching. And I just
But I mean,
want
it could help when you go to the clinic to say, this is how I would like to work, if that would be possible. Sometimes we're afraid of asking,
totally.
but you already have the no and you could get a yes. So
100%. I agree. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's where like sitting down and saying, okay, how many days do I want to pick up my kids? Like, you know, making sure we're putting in all those pieces that are important to us. Or, you know, I wrote recently, like, how many days a week would I be willing to commute away from home? And how far? Or how often would I be willing to travel? I think those are all really important when you're starting to like look at it again.
Yes, it's important because now you can start from another mindset, from what you want.
Yeah.
So, where do you recharge your energy? Outside family and outside dentistry? Like, what hobbies do you have that is only for you?
Mm-hmm. Nature. I mean, I don't know if these are hobbies. You know, let me think about what are my hobbies. Yoga is a hobby of mine.
You
I
said
love.
creative. Do you like to paint or do
I
something?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of loose with my hobbies. So I like to have a variety and then choose from them at different times. I don't tend to sit and do the same hobby every day. So I have beads and I make jewelry. And I love doing that because it's a way to put colors together. And yeah, like it's very easy. You don't have to be that skilled in painting to put the colors together in a way that you really enjoy. I like having art supplies out. I really like pastels are fun. So having pastels and paper. I love gardening and flowers. I like kind of getting creative in the garden, like trying out different seeds and then spending every day, like once in the summertime, I'll go, you know, regularly and like pick them and make an arrangement and like put it somewhere in the light where it feels really nice.
Wow.
I play with my kids. We go on a scooter after school and like ride around and yeah. So a lot of stuff.
Sounds
just
great.
easy stuff.
You said you have a variety of things. Do you feel that you get easily bored? Like if you would be with the jewelry, some people can do the same thing all the time. Do you get a little bit bored and want to do something else?
Yes.
We have similar personality type. Yeah, I don't even play the same DJ set twice. I get bored easily of the music, and next time I could have some songs repetitive, but I have to change something.
Totally.
And the thing is that I am so transparent. I didn't know that, but if I am bored, I look bored. So it's very important that I'm excited to be really true. So yeah, wow, and
Yes.
it's good and bad because they say that you get really good if you're doing one thing, but I get bored.
I know.
I need to. Yeah, I don't know if
100%. And I don't know about you. I mean, the other thing I do is I like create business ideas for fun. Like I
like
love,
what?
just like I've in the past, like a jewelry business or whatever. Just like I'll just like make a logo and I'll have a whole imaginary thing.
I love. I start with the logo. I'm like, the logo is important. The business is not even said. Yeah, but
totally.
But then it's easy to lose interest, and after a year, maybe, yeah.
I know 100%. So I think that's where finding
So do you
things
think we have ADHD a little bit?
I do.
Is that the conclusion of this podcast? I have thought about it. It's just like you said, there is a big spectrum, but sometimes I'm like, could be that I have something. And I've heard that
Yeah.
women, it just gets worse and worse with age, doesn't it?
And it
Or
doesn't show up the same way as in men. You
no,
can
it's
totally
yeah.
not realize or whatever. Yeah.
Mm,
Yes. So yes. I
yeah.
think that could definitely be a component.
Yeah.
And
And of
well, I was just going to say, I think sometimes though, it's pairing things. Like one of the tools for ADHD is pairing something boring with something giving you stimulation.
mm,
So if you can pair it, for example, with whatever it is, like maybe it's the right music. For
mm,
me, if I'm studying or trying to focus, like that is night and day difference. It gives my brain like enough and puts it in a zone where, I can focus.
mm,
Or I think the other part of that, I don't know what you think about, is just, if we can find something that we feel passionate about, then that
mm,
helps us get through the times when it's boring because you really care.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's very important. That's why I'm speaking about passion all the time. Like, it's so
Yeah.
important to feel that for me. Um, and it's true. Like you said, now when I'm thinking about it, when I'm doing like more boring things that I have to do at home, I'm thinking like, okay, then I can take the advantage to use this time to listen to new music on Spotify that I could add on a DJ set. And that changes my mindset. So yeah, I need these small things that maybe other people are just like doing without thinking, but I need sometimes these small tools to motivate me
Yeah.
a little bit more. Yeah.
And I
So, but
bet, I mean, are you highly creative?
uh, I I I I think I can call myself
I
that
think you
because
are.
I wake up like, wow, I know what I'm going to do today. I I'm already like, I know what post I'm going to do. And my husband, he's so understanding. Not
Mhm.
many people would uh, handle, but I wake up very creative, and then 2 cup of coffee, and I'm like, wake up with the subject, or yeah. So yeah, I can. But then if there are too many rules, somebody telling me, Christina, you have to do it like this, it could easily be like, it's not so funny anymore.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. And I've not been like that before. But if you tell me what I should do, I could easily get unmotivated.
Hmm.
So I need to have my creative space and my.
Totally.
Mm, does it resonate with you too?
Yes. I need to have my own freedom
Yeah.
to be expressive, to not have, I can have some rules, but I have to have freedom to like play with
Yeah.
it and
Yeah.
explore and try something or, you know, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say is like the flip side to sometimes those, whether it's ADHD or whatever, is
Mm,
yeah, that you might have to know your nervous system. You might have to pair something to do something boring. But a lot of times there's like a very highly creative side or a side of you that can focus like no one even knows. Like it's just you can get something done. And if you're passionate about it,
mm,
what's going to come out is like incredible.
mm.
So there's
Yeah.
a lot of gifts with it all.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of famous, important people in society, they saw that they had, or autism or ADHD, or so. Yeah. And it's
And I,
also a lot of feelings involved. I read a book. It was a Swedish psychiatrist. It was so interesting because they could see that in a family there was one person who was very creative, could be, for example, a painter, really good painter, but who also had mental illness like schizophrenia or something, that would be so ill, so sometimes they would be hospitalized. and the people around, like the sister or brother or daughter or what were, they were also very creative, but they were not mentally ill. But they could see that it has a lot of with the emotional, like creative people are also vulnerable.
Mm.
And the thing that we cannot stop when we get creative, we get so passionate. So I can be, when I'm passionate about something, I can be working like 12 hours. I don't realize. And my husband is just like, do you realize that you have been working from early morning till, don't say to me that you're getting another burnout. Like, so many times he said, you are speaking about burnout. You will be the first one having another burnout while you're speaking about burnout. And I looked it up, and that is actually a big problem. People who are speaking about burnout
Mhm.
are having other burnouts while they're doing, like, for example, they're writing their book or doing speeches, because it's the not knowing when to stop, because you get so
Yes.
passionate or you get so involved, so you cannot stop. That's the difference I see. Yeah.
And and don't you think, I mean, I think beyond ADHD, right? Like just the way our society is now, all of it is like much more common, like because we're like we have social media and we have like some kind of stimulation at our
All the
fingertips.
time. Yeah.
And so it's really hard to sit
Yeah.
still and like not engage in something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
we kind of, as a
I
whole
think,
world, we need to figure this out.
yeah, I think, yeah, before it was like few people maybe who had it, but now I think more and more people are developing this because of the dopamine that we get all the time. We get desensitized, and yeah, I think it will be a big problem. That's why we go back to the basic, just like you said, going out to nature, finding ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's
So,
universally helpful. Like, I
yeah,
don't know anyone that doesn't get something from that.
no, no,
Yeah.
that's for everyone.
Hmm.
So this podcast is called Going from Stress to Success in Dentistry. So to wrap this podcast up, what is one advice you would give to dental students or dentists out there that are feeling stressed now? What should they do?
I can think of several things.
Yeah. Yeah, you can share how many you want.
Yeah. I mean, I think that number one would be talking to somebody about it rather than numbing, which could be shopping, eating, getting busy with more stuff, you
I
know.
have to say that you were mentioning in one post about shopping, didn't you, a time ago?
A
Like
long
months
time. I don't
ago.
really remember
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. But I remember it because it resonated with me. I was a shopaholic, but I was not leaving the clinic. So it was like Amazon packages, like whatever. It could be for the
Mhm.
clinic, could be, oh, with this I can measure the crown. I had every instrument.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's
Yeah.
like that dopamine hit, or we don't know how to slow down when we have a break. So I think
Mm,
that'd be my first thing, would just be like letting that be okay that you do feel something, stress or overwhelm.
mm,
And then finding the right space to talk about it.
mm.
And what I mean by that is, like, I think whether that's a coach, and it sometimes might be trying out, it might not be that the very first coach is who you resonate with. I mean, so much is just like energy and
Yeah.
personality and like whatever. Finding the right therapist, the same thing goes. Like, you're not necessarily going to feel like every therapist is the right one for you.
Mm,
And then the same thing with like friends and mentors. I think that I have had the experience where I've sought mentorship, but that person couldn't, relate to feelings of anxiety and overwhelm. And it would make me feel like almost worse. Like,
Mm.
I'm broken or something. So making sure that like who you're surrounding yourself with is someone who understands or at least can give compassion and empathy, and you feel safe like talking about it. You don't feel judged. You don't feel like they're um thinking like what's wrong with you,
Mm.
or
Mm.
know
Yeah.
whatever. I feel like that would be
Mm.
the biggest one, honestly.
Mm. Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
that. I would say to some extent, evaluating. I mean, practically, it can be looking at your schedule. Are there things
Mm.
that you want to just take out for a while so that you can start to create little pockets with more space?
Mm.
And then I think beyond, once you do that and you have the space to talk and you have a little space in your schedule, like you're starting to peel back unessential things, right? So that you're not so rushed. I think then it's like going a little deeper into that anxiety, overwhelm, stress, so that you can really figure out. Because a lot of times I think we will say it's about this, but we don't, you don't really have the full answer until you sit down and really like feel it or go into it deeper. And suddenly there's something else under there that's really like what's happening.
Mm.
Do you
Yeah.
agree?
I totally agree. That's why I agree with you that it's better to speak with somebody, because you cannot go to that depth yourself.
Mhm. Totally.
Yeah. So I agree. So where do people find you?
Yeah. They can go to my website, drcamdenbrown.com. I'm also on Instagram, so you can message me through there. And I have on my website, I recently put a free anxiety toolkit, which
Hmm.
is like a PDF, sort of a journaling exercise, walks you through some different reflections that you can use to go into it. And then I have 2 guided audio recordings. One of them is just for settling into your body. So that one would be good, like, say
Like a
you finish
meditation? Like a meditation
kind of a
thing, or yeah.
meditation. Similar, yeah. It's yeah, so somewhat like a guided meditation. They're both about 5 minutes. The first one, it's called drop in, and it's like dropping into your body. So that one, it would be good. Like you finished your work day and you're about to go home, to kind of help you get into that state shift where you can like leave work and then be
Mm.
present with your family.
Mm.
And then the other one is on anxiety, and that one is guiding you into feeling what's going on regarding your anxiety. So, kind of befriending it actually, and going a little deeper and allowing it to be there. And that
Mm.
one's also just a little 5-minute thing. So,
Mm. And those
yeah,
things are so important, but it's so difficult when you have high stress levels, cortisol levels as
it
dentists.
is.
I remember listening to meditation. I could not focus on what they were saying. I
Yes.
could just start once I sold my clinic, then I could start to meditate. And today I listen to meditation every day. But I also notice the more worried I am about something, the less I can concentrate on what they're saying. I love these
Yeah.
guided meditations. And I remember I had a workshop for dentists, and I was like, now write down what drains you. And the dentists were just looking at me like, like, it's so I think dentists are so stressed, so it's like when they go to when we go to conferences, or just give me more information that I can use on my clinic,
Hmm.
but not don't tell me to it's like we are not connected to our feelings. We
Hmm.
are a little bit shut down, and I think we had to shut down a lot from first day of dental school. You have to you have high stress, you're working in somebody's mouth, it's difficult,
Yeah.
you have the tongue, you have the saliva, you you have
You're
so lot,
new. I mean, it's all,
yeah,
yeah.
you, so I think we shut down a lot of things inside us. So when somebody then say, now write down your feelings, they're like, do I have feelings?
I
What are
agree.
feelings? Yeah,
And
I think and that's a sign that you need it more. You need to
yeah,
listen to
exactly. Like you
Camden's.
need,
Yeah.
or you need to start, like it's not going to be like the first time you do something like that, you're going to understand it all. It might mean you're doing it regularly. It might mean you're building it up. Like, just like if you started exercising, it might mean that you, like for me, and I don't want to keep going back to like why coaching is so powerful, but it is. One thing I found was that I really couldn't direct myself there. Like my nervous system was too swirly. But if someone's guiding me, I can go. And
Yeah.
I listened to my own audio meditation the other day, because if I'm just laying here, it's really hard for me to focus and do all the steps. But if it's like coming from somewhere else, a lot of the times that helps.
Yeah.
Or I think, like going back to like the music, just if you're finding that verbal meditation is hard, test out different types of music to see if like something resonates with you. Because I do remember the same thing though. I remember being in a meditation and being like, I want to wiggle. I can't do this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think it's
And
just
one
baby
thing I have
steps.
noticed now when I'm not working clinically, I do enjoy silence now, but I couldn't enjoy silence when I was working. I needed something all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange. One day I realized, because when I go out with the dogs, before I was always or listening to a podcast or listening to music, but I just leave things. I don't want to listen to anything. I just want to be
Mm.
present.
It's so nice.
But I couldn't do that before.
Mm-hmm.
So and that if you can't do that, if somebody's listening to this, you can't be in silence, you can't listen to meditation, that is a sign that you need it. And just like Camden said, it's not easy. In the beginning, it will feel awkward. But just going step by step and start journaling, starting to listening to these. And if you're stressed, contact Camden, contact any coach or therapist. So the difference, I would just say fast, the difference between coaching and therapy or psychologist goes back into the reason why you have, like, for example, people pleasing and perfectionist often rooted in your childhood. And for me, it helped to speak about that and understand the reason why. And the coaching takes you to your to actionable steps into your future, so we don't go back into the reasons why. But it's good to know and understand. It was like opening up a nut, yeah. not
Mm-hmm.
nut nut. To understand the reason, to be able to leave and continue. But the coaching is about the being present and in the future. And mentoring is where you give advice. And of course, when we are coaching dentists, sometimes it gets mixed, especially if it's a young dentist and they want to advise, like, I have a bad boss. Should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go? Thank you
Yeah.
so much. What time
Thank
do
you.
you have?
What
Here
time is
it's
it now?
evening. Yeah,
It's the middle of the day.
middle of the day.
20. Yeah, so
Oh,
it's lunchtime. It's gorgeous
yeah.
outside. I might go on a
Oh,
walk.
oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. I wish you a wonderful day. And it was so lovely to speak with you again. And I wish you
Same.
all the best, and you will find what way is the best for you.
Thank
So
you.
good luck with
Same. So
everything.
good. Loved being here
Thank
and catching
you.
up again.
Yes, me too. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
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 I wish I had a Smiler when I had my dental practice. It removes so much stress from the dental team, handling online bookings, patient questions with a chatbot, pre- and post-treatment automations, and even offering a marketplace for dental treatments. Smiler isn't just a sponsor, it's a solution. That's why I love working with them, because they take dental teams from stress to success. If this episode helped you, don't keep it to yourself. Like, comment, and subscribe. Not for the algorithm, but to help more dental professionals go from stress to success. Your support means the world. See you next time.